I was leading a very comfortable corporate life, earning lots of money. What made me quit all of that to start a political party focused on Bengaluru? Hello Bengalurigas, this is Srikanth Narasimhan, founder of Bengaluru NavaNirmana Party BNP, founder of Bangalore Apartment Federation BAF, IIM Bangalore and BITS Pilani alumnus. How did the death of a 17-year-old girl bring about this transformation from being a non-voter to becoming a full-fledged politician? I would say there were 4 turning points in my life that led me to make this incredible transformation. Turning point number 1 was the founding of Bangalore Apartment Federation BAF. I was the general secretary of my apartment complex in 2013 when we started getting harassed quite significantly by different agencies. 300% water tariff hike imposed by BWSSB, solid waste management cess imposed on us by BBMP without the garbage being collected, notices from the Pollution Control Board for non-violations, so on and so forth. And when I went and met the ministers, politicians and officials, all of them had the same thing to say. You guys living in apartment complexes, you do not come out and vote, you do not matter to us, so you pretty much do whatever we tell you to do, whether there's logic in it or not. And that was an enlightening moment for me. I realized that by not having voted in my life, I was inflicting misery upon myself. This was the trigger that led to the starting of Bangalore Apartment Federation to give voice to the lakhs of apartment residents in Bengaluru. But even more importantly, it was a turning point where not only did I become a voter, I, along with my team, have conducted hundreds and hundreds of voter ID camps to get thousands and thousands of people registered on the electoral rolls and to come out and cast our valuable votes during all the elections. Turning point number 2 was a protest that I had organized through BAF in December 2017. The government had imposed a really ridiculous rule asking old apartments in Bengaluru to construct sewage treatment plants. Not only was it impractical because there was no space in these old apartments, it could also have posed safety and structural issues for those apartment complexes. But despite this, the government kept on insisting that old apartments had to put up these sewage treatment plants, or STPs as they are called. 1 year we kept on logically arguing with the government, with the ministers and officials. And finally, when nothing bore fruit, I decided that we had to do a protest to make the government listen and understand. December 2nd, 2017, more than 10,000 apartment residents across 40 different locations in Bengaluru came out and stood in a silent protest against this retrospective STP rule imposed by the government. And guess what? What logic could not accomplish, what reasoning could not accomplish, a protest with over 10,000 people did the job. December 14, 2017, within 2 weeks of the protest, the government called us. When I say the government, the whole machinery pretty much was there. The Bengaluru Development Minister, the Home Minister, the Mayor, the BBMP Commissioner, the Pollution Control Board Chairman and BWSSB Chairman, all in one meeting. They invited us for a meeting and they asked what we wanted. And my response was very simple. We want that ridiculous rule to be annulled. And guess what? It took 1 minute for the minister to annul that rule. That was another huge enlightening moment for me. I realized that we, the people, hold huge power in our hands, provided we know about it and provided we come together. That is the moment I realized there is a Hanuman in all of us, provided we all come together. Turning point number 3 was a call that I received from the president of an apartment complex in South Bengaluru in 2018. Through BAF, we had encouraged a lot of apartments to segregate garbage in every individual household, which many apartments had started doing by then. But then, in this case, the president had called me with a problem that he was facing. In their apartment, they were segregating garbage 100%, and they used to have these blue bins, red bins and green bins in which they used to deploy their segregated waste. The problem was that the waste contractor who was coming to pick up that garbage used to come with his truck, pick up all these bins, mix all the waste into the truck and take it back. And the residents started questioning, what is the point in we segregating if this contractor is going to mix everything up? And we had suggested that they can go with a professional agency which was capable of picking up the different types of waste and disposing them in an environment friendly manner. And the moment that apartment decided to go with this professional waste contractor, they got a call from the husband of that ward's corporator. I repeat, the husband of the corporator. In 50% of the wards in Bengaluru, women are elected as corporators, but then the reality is the real corporator are their husbands or their fathers who run the ward by proxy. Anyway, coming back to the story, this husband of the corporator had called up that president and said, I understand that you want to go with a different agency. If you do that, I will ensure that 3 things happen. Number 1, I will get the road in front of your apartment dug up. 2, in your apartment, the khata has still not shifted from the builder's name to the individual owner's name. I will ensure that it will not get done. And number 3, I don't know whether your apartment is in compliance or not, but I'll get the pollution control board to issue notices to you running into lakhs of rupees. And this is the husband of an elected representative threatening an apartment complex and the residents, even though they were doing their bit. And guess what? Instead of going with a professional agency, they were forced and threatened to stay with the existing contractor who was mixing up all that garbage and probably dumping it in some kind of a landfill. That was the day I had one more enlightenment. And that is the elected representatives who we have elected. Not only are they not doing their job, not only are they incompetent and corrupt, they actually are working towards destroying the city and destroying everything that we as citizens are doing. And that had to change. Turning point number 4. This is the last but probably the most important of the turning points and the most heart-rending of them all. I live on Old Madras Road on a particular part where the traffic, after having narrowed down at a bottleneck, starts opening up and the traffic picks up pace. And it has been an extremely dangerous junction to cross the road. We all knew it because we were crossing the roads on a daily basis. We took up the issue with both the MLA and the corporator for quite some time. All that we wanted was a skywalk at that junction. And as fate would have it, sometime in 2017 or 18, a 17-year-old girl who was trying to cross the road was run over by a bus and died on the spot. A life of a 17-year-old girl gone in a millisecond. Who is responsible? This is not an accident because we knew this was waiting to happen. And we had taken this issue up, but nothing had happened. And guess what? Even after an incident of this magnitude happening, the authorities and the politicians were not willing to do anything about it. And finally, the residents of the area had to do a protest. And guess what? Once a protest happens, somewhere magically out of thin air, a budget gets created and the project got sanctioned. Finally, we were all relieved when the project got sanctioned and the work started. But within a month, the work came to a grinding halt after the road on both sides of the road was dug up. Once again, the trip to the corporator's office, the MLA's office started, trying to understand what was happening, but we couldn't get any answers. And after a few months, we went to the media, and the media, specifically Bengaluru Mirror, covered the story, and an article came up which quoted the ward corporator saying this, that she was forced to start the work because of citizens' pressure, but now the work had stopped because a senior politician wanted to discuss something with the contractor. Do you want to guess who that senior politician might be? Do you want to guess what he would have wanted to discuss with the contractor? It's all obvious, right? Our blood was boiling at that time. That is the day I realized the value of a 17-year-old girl's life in this city is the bribe that is to be paid to a politician. And guess what? Despite continuous efforts after that, the work just didn't move on. That made me come to a very important realization. We all keep saying politics is dirty. But you know what? Politics has been made dirty not just by the bad people getting in. It's also been made dirty because good people like you and me, we have chosen to stay out of politics completely. One of the big reasons for the misgovernance that we are seeing in this city is not just the politicians being corrupt, incompetent, and not doing their job. It's also because we, the citizens, have shied away from taking part in this important democratic process. And this was the last of the turning points that made me come to the conclusion that it's time for good citizens to get into politics and clean up the system from not just the outside, but from the inside. So, what did this lead to ultimately? It led me to the founding of Bengaluru NavaNirmana Party, BNP, on 22nd September 2019, with a very clear vision of making our city a model city, with the very clear objective of getting good Bengalurigas, like-minded Bengalurigas, passionate Bengalurigas to contest as corporators and bring about a change to our grassroots governance. If we are not going to do it, nobody else is going to do it. So what are we waiting for? Let's come together, let's join hands, let's unite for the cause of Namma Bengaluru. Join us in this incredible journey to transform Bengaluru. Join Bengaluru NavaNirmana Party. Together, let's build the best city in this world.